Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock, a live stream October 26th. We are back with one of our top performing super stocks, ESE Entertainment, Conrad Vasella. Conrad, welcome back.
Always great to be on, Jack. I'm really excited to share the news today.
Okay, excellent. Because I know you're still in Europe. You're coming back to Canada sometime in the next week or two. You just closed this deal with Frenzy, so we're adding to the the what is it, the 360 esports solution, as you call it, for ESE, or I call it basically a diversified esports platform. And really, what you have is an esports platform. So. For anybody that's brand new to a program, I just want to kind of tell you what this is about. We bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. So these are companies going after multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. They're at a key inflection point and multiple catalysts in place to ignite that 10x to 100x upside. Of course, ESE has already been a 10-bagger, and now it's coming back for another 10x. We're taking another bite at the apple. So I think, Conrad, last year you started off at last December 3rd. I think the stock was like 30 cents, went to over $4 in 4 months. It's like a record. So it was like a 14x in a few months. It pulled back, and now looks like we're ready for another 10-bagger. And the timing is actually very interesting because I'm sure you realize you saw the news about FaZe Clan.
Yes, I did.
And what's interesting is this FaZe Clan thing. These guys are merging with a SPAC. This thing is going to be valued at, I believe, a little bit over $1 billion, right? And they're doing, I think, about 50 million run rate approximately. And it's pretty much, I don't want to say it's a one-trick pony, but it's not. It's kind of they're I don't know if they're market, but it's a limited thing. If I'm not articulating properly, as opposed to what you have. But the takeaway is, I think the market is validating esports valuations. They're valued at 25 times revenues, forward revenues. You're trading right now at less than 3 times the revenues, and you're growing very rapidly. Last year, when you came on the show, you had, I don't know, it was under 2 million run rate, I think, right? Last December.
Yep.
Today, you're at, is it 30 million right now?
Yeah, we discussed this before. I mean, just this year, it's a 10x. And I don't know if FaZe Clan and, the bankers were watching the show, but $1 billion valuation sounds very familiar. That's what I've been saying from day one. It just got validated by the NASDAQ, by their bankers and what they're doing on a deal in which, my opinion, is significantly limited compared to our 360 solution and our platform. So, the upside for us, for me to continue to say this is a $1 billion plus opportunity is not only reasonable, it's reality now. This is yet another group that's validated what I've been saying since day one.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Listen, a lot of CEOs say a lot of things, but everything that you have said from day one, you have delivered on, which is impressive. So I would say the takeaway from that for investors is, okay, most likely you're going to keep continuing to execute in the future. So if you're saying that ESE is going to be $1 billion valuation, which is, I don't know if that's your ultimate goal, but at least it's an interim goal to get to that $1 billion valuation. Okay, so it seems that you're on track. And again, the strategy is what is essentially a roll up, a consolidation of esports, different assets, infrastructure, media. Like, give us the big concept, and then we'll dive into the latest news, which is the latest acquisition of Frenzy, what they're doing with CS:GO, all that. But give us the big picture for anybody that's new to the story.
Yeah. I'm just using the $1 billion market cap as a baseline. We want to go above that, obviously. And I've been saying from the beginning that we have a pipeline of 100 million plus in acquisitions. every time we complete an acquisition, and we've been executing at the highest level, we're basically at a pace of closing one a quarter. We continue to rebuild that entire pipeline. So we've already went from 0 to 30 million run rate. Now we've built out the pipeline to 100 plus million. I'm reloading that pipeline constantly. So we're not stopping at 100. The pipeline is constantly at 100. So that's what I want people to understand.
The M&A pipeline.
The M&A pipeline.
And M&A opportunities. Okay.
Yeah, and we're not stopping. It's a consolidation play. We're going after strategic assets. I'll use a quote from a banker that I spoke to recently. He said, this is a treasure trove of gaming assets. And he said it perfect.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. It's a 360 solution with a treasure trove of gaming assets. And we are well on our way to get to that 100 million mark. And trust me, I am not stopping. We can't get into detail, but we're going to continue on pace. Our goal is to do one a quarter. I want to squeeze one more in by the end of the year. You know, that's the mentality here, guys. We have just started, and we're going to continue to chip away.
Okay, so we're gonna so there's at least one more deal that's going to be closed, one more esports acquisition that you plan to close before the end of the year. We got 2 months to go, so right?
Just follow the news.
I've been executing.
I've been executing. Just follow the news.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say that when I come on the show and we show a bit of a roadmap and what we have planned, we're executing.
No, I think definitely anybody looking at whether they're watching these live streams or who has looked at the news over the past, your news over the last 10 months, there's a consistent, the acquisitions coming, the growth, the revenue growth, just building out the business has been a constant theme. So it looks like the 100 million is going to be on track, and I don't see any reason that so FaZe Clan is going to be trading at 20 times the revenues. Is there any reason why ESE can be trading at 10x? I mean, if you would be valued based on what they're at, you'd be at what is it, $12 at least right now, $12. So I think that is not unreasonable, especially if you get to 100 million run, right? How many, and you're going to have how many shares outstanding? Do you?
Right now we have roughly around 60 million outstanding, but after if you look at the deals we've structured, we're keeping it very tight. Limited share issuance, limited capital. We're really structuring phenomenal deals. You got to give credit to our M&A team. We've built out a really strong M&A team. Our lawyers have been doing a great job. We're getting better and better every transaction. We're getting faster. We're closing better deals. And I anticipate that continuing moving forward as we continue down this path. But if you look at our shares issued, I think we've done a phenomenal job of keeping it really tight.
No, definitely. The share structure has been tight. I mean, I know that when you did a small raise back in the summer, there was a lot of demand. I mean, you could have probably raised 3 times. I mean, the demand was probably 3x what you did. So
yeah, and
you're not giving it away at these price levels right now.
No, and we strategically said no. We've been raising capital at a higher price point every single time. And the business is going very well. And we didn't need the capital, so we're not going to put our shareholders in that position where we're diluting the company at these levels because A, we don't need to, and B, we know it's in the pipeline.
So kind of what I'd like to do actually with you is because you're kind of this treasure trove of gaming, of esports assets is expanding, and I think what I'd like to do over the next maybe couple of live streams we do is maybe give people like a demos, really show them what you're doing. Yeah. We did a little bit of that, and we got to do more of that. I think you did a small demo with the frenzy deal, which you kind of gave it. The problem is with that video is I think they had some music in the background, and with on YouTube it gets like there's like a copyright. So I don't know that the video might have gotten a little bit suppressed because of the music. So we'll have to, for the future, we'll have to have stuff without music. But we're gonna do more demos. But let's talk a little bit about Frenzy. This is the deal you just closed. You announced it about 6 weeks ago, right? 6 weeks ago, I think, in September. You just closed it this week.
Yeah, we signed the definitive agreement. We announced it Monday morning. So I mean, we've been working on that one in the background for quite some time. It's a very strategic acquisition that puts us at a tier 1 global leader in the production media rights space as it pertains to gaming and esports. I mean, the contracts that are in place with the biggest publishers in the world, for example, EA Sports, Ubisoft, Riot Games, this takes us to a whole new level, and it allows us to go after global distribution rights, global media rights with these big publishers, and evidence is right in front of us. Today, we announced that we're going to be doing broadcasting and distribution for the CSGO major, which is the biggest CSGO tournament in the past 2 years, 2 million prize pool. And that's a global event.
This is going to be in Sweden at the Avicii Stadium, I saw, right? The DJ.
Exactly.
Avicii. So it ties in with esports, right? So,
it's just, if you're following this story and you understand this space, we're going global. Like you could see it, every news release, the best, biggest publishers, the biggest games, the biggest crowds. We're doing the broadcasting. We're getting media rights with these publishers. I mean, you got to be excited. It's a snowball now. We're going global and it's snowballing.
Okay, so in terms of this company, Frenzy, essentially it's a product. They produce content. Essentially, they produce esports tournament. Give us like the details of what they do, and also what kind of revenues are they doing, and how you're going to be adding value. How are you going to be able to scale that business beyond what they've done? How it ties in with your other assets and the future things that you're going to be doing.
So, not only do they create content, they have world-class facilities, so studios where you could create content in. They have technology to support content creation. They have ARVR capabilities, so we could go global. They're just a world-class production company and media company. And when you say scale, they're already scaling. Without us even adding on our assets, literally there's new opportunities coming in the door every day. We're scaling globally now with them. And I anticipate the growth to continue. I mean, we can't disclose some things that are happening in the background, but my gosh, are these guys really scaling fast? There's some really fantastic news anticipated in the pipeline here. And I can't wait to share with everyone, but everyone's going to be pleasantly surprised. And, as it pertains to revenues, anticipated run rate of 5 million Canadian from the group and profitable, which is very important. But I think
this is all accretive.
Oh, it's all accretive. Okay. It's all accretive, and I think that
is the question here. We got a bunch of questions.
I want to jump to this.
What's going to be the run rate with this deal? So they're doing 5 million Canadian roughly. What's going to be the run rate? Where are you going to be at with this?
I mean, with what I see in the pipeline, the organic growth and what they've done in the past, I could just tell you historically, they're basically doubling year over year. So, I know my shareholders are smart guys and girls, so do the math and where these guys are heading. I mean, these guys are historically growing 100% year over year. So they've just scratched the surface. Once we expand globally, it's going to take off like a rocket ship.
Okay. And so are you basically, before this deal, I think you were at 25 million roughly, the run rate. So you should be at 30 million ballpark right now with Frenzy.
Correct. That's our run rate as of right now, and like I said, man, we haven't even started, man. It's just so exciting.
Yeah, and again, yeah, last quarter, I mean, like really impressive growth. And I don't think the market has really, probably, I think when you first came on the show back in December, and then into January, and the market for microcaps was also strong. And I think the stock might have gotten a little bit ahead of itself.
Yeah.
But now that you've actually are delivering, now it's really undervalued, which is crazy. So it went up, 15x based on the potential. But now that you're actually delivering, you're trading at 75% below where you were in February, March. So it looks like it's almost like you're a value. It's like a value play. It's almost like a Warren Buffett stock at this point. Deep value here. So we got the Frenzy deal. They got this tournament coming up, so they're going to be broadcasting this, right? This thing that from in Sweden, $2 million it's a $2 million prize pool for CS:GO. Okay.
This is massive. There's going to be millions, multi-million viewership at this event. This is one of the biggest events in the world, and it's going to put us on the map as it pertains to broadcasting and distribution. So, we're just excited to get started, and we'll bring some highlight clips next time I'm on.
Okay, yeah, we gotta start showing people the stuff, like because we gave them a little bit about, we showed them a little bit about what do you call it, Digital Motorsports does.
Yeah.
You were at that show, so we got to show them a little bit more about what Frenzy's doing and some of the other assets, so that people really need to kind of they need to see what you're doing. So what else is in the pipeline? I think essentially, really ESE is at this stage, probably for the next 9 months to a year, you're still going to be doing M&A, and you're just going to be building it out, and then at some point, you might want to focus more on just growing those assets, getting the synergies and everything else. Which that's probably going to be the hard part. What's going to happen a year from now? This is maybe the easy part, doing the M&A, the exciting part. And probably this is where all the action in the stock is going to be. This is where all the excitement is going to happen. In the consolidation phase, that's going to be the hard work, getting everything, wringing the synergies out. So I think for investors looking at this, between now and the next 12 months is, there's an easy 10x to be made again. And
actually, believe in doing the hard work now as well. We're not scared of it. So we've already started, consolidating some of the assets, working together with some of the assets, implementing systems to streamline everything. We're already seeing growth internally from the current assets. So we're not waiting to do that. We're doing that simultaneously, and we're going after the accretive acquisitions. Trust me, man, my team is absolutely fired up. They're not shy from hard work. I mean, these guys are really dialed. We work day and night on this thing, and I'm going after every accretive acquisition under the sun that makes sense for us. And we're gonna close deals, and we're gonna build internally, and we're just not gonna stop. I mean, the ramp up is not gonna stop, and at some point when those numbers come out, the market's going to appreciate what we've built here.
Okay. So last earnings report was really impressive. I guess so we had a question. I don't know. Do you want to give an answer to this, or do you want to surprise people?
I'll surprise you guys, but yeah, just wait for the news. But the smile, we're not shy. Let's put it that way. We're not hiding anything. We're excited to put the numbers out.
Okay. Here's actually, this is an interesting question. I'm new to investing. Can you explain? This is a great question. So why were people willing to spend $4 last February, but not today? And even after, the company essentially is, 10 times bigger in terms of revenues than it was.
It is.
in February. So I guess I would say the answer is, I mean, Connor, maybe you have an answer, but I would say, look, the market is always forward looking. Everybody gets all pumped up. It's always buy the rumor, sell the news. So people got way ahead of itself. The market is really, it's dysfunctional. Either it gets way ahead of itself or it gets really depressed. And right now it's at the other side. It's at the depressed part of that swing. So people essentially have sort of forgotten about ESE for the moment, I think, and that's why the stock is kind of where it's at. It's undervalued at this stage, which is interesting.
Well, we need shareholders like that to go on message boards and to spread the word, because you're absolutely right. There's way more value now, and I've validated the $4 price point now. So we need guys like that and shareholders like that to go on and educate people that we're here. We went from 0 to 30. Now we're going from 30 to 100. I mean, it's a lot easier to get to 100.
It actually is. It's much easier to go from 30 million to 100 million than it is to go from 0 to 30 or even 0 to 5 or 10.
Exactly.
Huge difference.
Huge difference.
You have momentum. You have cash in the bank. You got there's a lot going for this thing right now, and it's amazing. It's that people were got so crazy over this GameStop stock back in last February, January, February, whatever it was, which is essentially it's kind of essentially a dying retailer, right, of video games. I mean, I know they're going to try to go online, whatever, but the growth is not kind of where ESE is at. I mean, the idea is for investors is you want to get into something which can go 10x or 100x in terms of you want to get into that early stage, that inflection point where things really start to scale up, which is kind of where you're at. So there we go. I think I would second that. Perfect time to get in, which is this is the point where essentially a lot of the story has been de-risked from where you were. See, back in when the stock was $4 and people they're falling all over themselves to pay $4, you were still at, I think, less than you were roughly 2 million run rate at that time. You were getting to the 10, and now that you're already at 30 million run rate ballpark, the story has been pretty much been de-risked. So at this point, the next milestone is the 100 million. And after that, that's going to be the next thing. So, I mean, you're not just to reiterate, Conrad, the 100 million is that's an intermediate point, right? You're not stopping at 100.
So that's just the new starting point. When we get there, have me on the show and I'll tell you what's next.
Question. Are you doing anything with the blockchain? I don't know, for game. Just you're not a developer of games, just to clarify, right? You're not a video game developer.
Correct. No, we're not. The only blockchain technology that we're using currently is for NFTs.
Oh, right.
So, obviously there's involvement with blockchain there, and those have done very well for us. But as it pertains to new developments in that segment, we're not developing any new technologies with blockchain.
Conrad, we haven't really talked too much about the NFTs. I mean, I know that's not the main focus of the business, but it's kind of a very profitable aspect. What are you doing in that space? Is that with Kick? With your Kick? Again, for anybody that's kind of new to the story, tell us about what Kick and the NFTs. Yeah,
so we spoke about FaZe Clan. I mean, Kick is a professional esport team, just like FaZe Clan, and we're creating NFTs, as another, basically added value item that we could sell to our fans. They could go out and purchase our NFTs and be exclusive holders of that specific NFT. So, we do an abundance of things with Kick. Obviously, they're a professional esports team. They participate in tournaments and leagues around the world for prize pools. They have their own e-commerce store, and they generate revenues even now through NFTs. So building out a diversified platform for them to monetize. So it's funny we started with FaZe Clan, but we have our own pro esports team.
So for anybody that doesn't know, maybe anybody that's, I don't know, over the age of 40, let's say. So FaZe Clan is basically, it's an esports team, right? It's a bunch of kids, or some of these guys are adults. They basically play video games for money, right? In these tournaments.
Correct.
Essentially, like the NFL, like the NBA, whatever, like the, who's playing right now? What's the Tom Brady team? It was the Buccaneers, right?
Tampa Bay, yeah.
The Buccaneers, or I don't know, the LA Clippers, whatever. So this is the thing. This is one of the things that we talked about early on. Is what's happening with esports right now is it's this generational opportunity, because esports is getting more viewers, more eyeballs than professional sports, than even football, soccer. We call soccer. There's more people watching esports tournaments than watching professional sports, which is why a lot of these guys who own the professional sports teams have been investing in buying, building, developing their own esports teams, because I think these guys they see that as like that's the next big thing. I mean, and it's going to happen much faster than the way the NBA developed, or the NFL developed, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, big notable names that are investors in FaZe Clan. Entertainment moguls, pro athletes. They work with a lot of different pro athletes around the world. They're entrenched in music, everything. They're really entrenched in the whole social media culture. But it shows you, I mean, they started, I'm sure, with a valuation of 5-10 million, and now they're doing $1 billion IPO, once again validating what we're doing. And that's the exciting part, right?
And what would need to happen? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, like at the end of the day, like essentially, it's interesting because you played professional sports, right? You were a football player, right? I mean, like American, or Canadian.
American football, yeah.
Not the soccer. Okay, so you understand this business. Okay, what would it take to make Kick a a team on par with FaZe Clan? Because I remember when like the LA Clippers, or you could talk about a lot of different sports. They were considered like like a bargain basement, like like nobody cared about, nobody knew about them, and then all of a sudden this thing is sold for $2 billion. I think it was worth probably 20 million a couple of years ago, or and you have some of these esports teams. Like, okay, so FaZe Clan is being valued at billion plus. You got a bunch of others that are in the 100 million range. So how would you compare, let's say, Kick? Where is Kick? Is Kick like the next up and coming esports team, like on par with like a Clippers? Or give us a metaphor that we could relate to.
Yeah, groups like FaZe Clan, Cloud9, TSM, those are considered like tier 1 groups globally. They compete in the biggest tournaments, biggest numbers of followers, etc. And we're, historically, we've been around longer than all those teams, but we'd be considered more of a tier 2, tier 3 team. But with our infrastructure and with our plans, we can move up to that level, right? It's not impossible. It's something that just needs a little bit of nurturing, a little bit of capital, and a little bit of education on the market. But, we can get there. Kick's competed with those tier 1 groups in the past, and they still compete with some of those tier 1 groups now. So it's not, apples and oranges. We're pretty close. We just need to create a new strategy, which we have in place for 2022 and beyond. And absolutely, we could get to that level.
Okay, so in terms of people could understand, let's say Cloud9 and FaZe Clan would be the equivalent of, okay, in NFL terms, who's like the leading teams right now? Like, are they in that range? Like, are they like that type of thing? Are they like a Patriots or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, they have different strengths. FaZe Clan's strength is more so on social media, so they have really big followings. and then Cloud9's a little bit stronger as it pertains to actual competitions. So they have different strengths, but they're still kind of in that tier 1 level. It's like the Cowboys, right? It's the America's favorite team.
Okay, so the Dallas Cowboys, are they? So basically, these guys are kind of the equivalent of Dallas Cowboys, right?
But they're not winning championships, right?
Right. But the opportunity, the value play. It's almost like that movie was a Moneyball, right? So the value play. So the value play though is in kind of that undervalued team, which has that upside. Because listen, all it is just people. I mean, just guys who are good at playing these games, right? That's really what it is. And maybe some merchandising and branding. So what would it take? Because you already have the basics, right? I mean, you got the things that are already there. What would it take to get Kick to that, top tier $1 billion valuation? Because we see the market's paying for it. So what needs to happen for you to be, how close? Like, what's the path to get there? Is it impossible?
No, it's definitely not impossible. I mean, like I said, we already compete in similar tournaments, and what it's going to take is implementing our business plan. And as you could see from how we've been executing over the past year, when we say we're going to do it, I mean, we're going to get into that space. So we have a plan. We're going to execute it. And, potentially that's in our future, right? Getting into that tier 1 level, side by side with the groups like FaZe Clan and Cloud9.
But in the meanwhile, even until you're in. I mean, you're already. Look, the bottom line is you're in. Kick is in the game. Now, what you got to do is get to that top tier level. So
just accelerate.
Yeah. So if the market's willing to pay $1 billion for an esports team like FaZe Clan, is it fair to say that Kick should be worth at least, I don't know, how about just a 20th of that? Let's say 50 million, right? Let's say that's worth 50 million or even 100 million. So that still leaves the rest of the business essentially for free. In other words, you have this, again, the treasure trove of esports assets.
Exactly.
And one of these things, so any of these things can become, worth a ton of money.
And that's what's so enticing for shareholders and future shareholders of ESE. It's a diversified platform. It's a treasure trove of gaming assets. You're not just leveraging one opportunity. We're giving you the whole 360 solution. That's the differentiator. Yeah. So do you want to own the whole league, or do you want to own the team, right? Do you want to own the media rights and the league? That's the type of opportunity that we're bringing to the table. And I'm trying to explain to future shareholders and current shareholders, this is a 360 where you're getting everything.
Essentially, a pure play. It's a pure play on the whole esports thing. So it's like it's almost like an ETF of esports businesses. I mean, that's basically what you have at this point, right? Between the team, production, media, you got the digital motorsports side, which is the digital motorsports. How would you classify that business? That's basically what they're doing. They develop these setups. I mean, is it a hardware business? It's kind of a hardware business, really, no? Or how would you describe that business?
I would describe it more of a technology e-commerce business. And if you want a comparable, once again, motorsports games on the NASDAQ. I don't know where they're sitting at right now, but last time I looked at it, it's a 200+ million market cap company on the NASDAQ. And it's another asset that we have underneath our umbrella, underneath our 360 solution. So you touched on it. We have Kick, we have Frenzy, we have Digital Motorsports, we have WPG, we have this treasure trove, and any one of those groups could be 100, 500 million market cap on their own. So that's the whole point of us educating the market about this opportunity and the 360 approach. I just really believe we're unbelievably undervalued at the moment. And I'll prove it the hard way. Every quarter, I'll keep putting the numbers in people's face, and I'll keep proving it step by step.
Okay, so so again, we're ballparking a 30 million run right now. What other acquisitions are you looking at? Can you give us a hint of like what sector of the market they're in, and what kind of deals you're looking at?
We're leaning a little bit more now that we have our core foundation, and Frenzy was that last piece, kind of the core foundation. Now we're switching a little bit more in the direction of technology, scalable technology that could help the current assets within the ecosystem. So we're going after a synergistic group right now, for example, that's heavily tech-based, that's going to accelerate our current assets. So not only do they perform at the highest level and they're an accretive business, but they're going to help our current assets really accelerate. So that's why I was saying, to your point earlier, we're not waiting. We're going to build our current assets and continue to build on the acquisitions. We're going to do both.
Okay. Interesting question. Are you doing anything with the Metaverse? This is the new thing, the Metaverse. You have anything going on?
Yeah, no, it comes up all the time, but by us jumping into the NFT world, by default, it puts us in that Metaverse conversation. It's something that really intrigues me, and we're looking into it, every day. And now that we have, production studios and we have those capabilities, ARVR, you better believe that's something that we're going to look into deeply.
Okay, interesting. AR and VR. This is at Frenzy. So you're incorporating that stuff. Okay, so this.
Yes, they have some tier 1 technology in that space that's proven. So it's really excited. We just have to do a deeper dive into it and see how we could execute with that technology.
Okay, look at this, Conrad. We got a $6.99 super chat from Ned Zods. I feel almost like one of your esports guys. They get super chat. These guys are the esports people. They get super chat, this type of stuff on what's that? What's that other channel? Not YouTube. The gaming one. The one that Amazon owns. It's what the hell is it called?
Twitch.
Okay.
Tell them to go buy some shares too. I want some shares purchase as well, man. Let's go.
I think you should, instead of giving us a super chat, guy could have bought 5 shares right now with that, right? So instead of super chats, you guys should be buying shares. Well, not that we're giving investment advice, not that.
No. But we're just.
Yeah. But that's a thing. Okay, so thank you very much. So actually, when people do the super chat, it kind of validates that. It's interesting. Usually, when they do the super chat, it usually means that the stock has like there's a belief building. I remember the only other stock that we had the super chat thing happening with before was VSBY, and that one went from 15 cents to, was it $1.80 right now, $1.60. So that was happening when the stock was in the 40-cent range. So that implies that ESE from here is at least a $4 stock. I mean, if it follows the same trajectory. It's really amazing that it's all of a sudden being overlooked. Let's take a look. Let me see what the question here. Okay, so interesting question. Do you feel investors are looking for more focused plays rather than a conglomerate of all facets of esports? That could be, has anybody said, well, we want only a company that does X? Or why are you doing the sort of like this? I don't know if the word is conglomerate, or how would you answer this question?
A great question. And it actually plays right into my 360 approach, is that it's hyper-focused. The reason why it's a 360 approach is because we don't want anything to leave our ecosystem. So that's the definition of focus. So when we're putting on a tournament, we want to be able to do the whole gamut. We want to put on the tournament. We want to do the media. We want to do the graphic design, the production, the media rights, you name it. Work directly with the publisher. So we're a one-stop shop rather than, in some cases, what people would think is a focused approach where they only have a team or they only have media capabilities. You're going to have to outsource or hire other groups. I prefer an approach where we have the whole loop internally, the 360 solution, and it creates focus for our team. Why? They know they have the support to go after larger contracts, long-term contracts, because they have the infrastructure internally to execute.
Okay, so we got a comment. So this guy's basically saying, I think, which kind of ties into what you just said. So basically, with ESE, they're getting essentially a diversified business and not just a guy playing video, which is, I guess he's referring to like a FaZe Clan or something, where it's just one thing. And it can run hot or cold. That's the other thing. If you're buying a team and everything is tied into just that one team, again, that thing runs hot or cold at any given time, right? I mean, it's like, it's sports.
And we're adding value every day. We're adding real value to publishers. We're adding real value to teams. We're adding real value to the ecosystem. It's all happening, right?
Okay. Now you have some. Okay, so you guys have some partnerships because of the motorsports side with major global brands. Okay, so you got Ford. Can you talk about some of the partnerships that you have right now in that space?
Yeah, I have to give credit to the digital motorsports team. It's unbelievable what they've been able to do in a short period of time. They surprised me even. I actually was just at the headquarters of digital motorsports in Ireland, and we were invited to the FIA, so the International Federation of Automobiles gala. At that gala, Niall, the CEO, was able to announce him working closely with Ford, and it looks like that relationship is going to build. It's just unbelievable what those guys have been able to do in a short period of time. We have Porsche, we have Ford, we have Kia Motors. I mean, these are the types of groups we're working with, right? Multi-billion-dollar players in the industry, and it's just a great sector to be in, and I think it's just going to snowball.
Okay. Yeah. So in those partnerships, they could be leveraged into other aspects of the business, because once you kind of have that relationship, you have that trust with the brand, and it's not easy to get, Porsche or Kia, to write you a check, right? I mean, that kind of, they don't just do deals with anybody, because, there's a lot involved when they have to trust you with their brand that you're going to. So there's, I think that really validates a lot with what you're doing.
And guess what gives them even more comfort? When you can provide them with the 360 solution. And they know you're going to deliver. They know you're going to execute. That's how we're getting these contracts with these massive conglomerates like Ford and Kia and Porsche.
Okay. So Conrad, let's kind of wrap up. We're already almost in November. We got 2 months to go. So people want to what kind of news flow can people expect to see over the next 2 months? Can we see deals? What can we see the next, let's say 30 to 60 days into the end of the year here?
I mean, you guys have seen the news flow as of late. It's constant. It's tier one. We're not stopping. The news flow will not stop. We have a backlog of news flow. We have that 100 million in revenues with the pipeline for acquisitions. I mean, the news is not going to stop, guys. This is just the beginning for us, and we're going to keep pressing all the way through to the end of the year. And the second the new year hits, we're back on the horse, and we're going right after it again.
I have a feeling that, like, a lot of times, there might be people watching the stock, they understand the concept, but they don't jump into the stock until, I would say the mainstream investors, not early investors, but like the mainstream, the average investor, they might be watching it, but they don't jump into it until they kind of see that there's a pattern that develops. So they heard you say, okay, we're going to do a consolidation, we're going to do consolidation in esports space, we're going to go to 100 million revenues. But there's a lot of people on the sidelines, I believe, who are not going to jump in until they see that you kind of pass that hump of, let's say, 50 or 60 million run rate. So there's probably a bunch of people on the sidelines who are going to be coming in probably after the next or the follow-on deal. Because again, some people some people want to get in early. Some people like to get in, once they see the bus is already leaving the station or the rocket is already leaving the launch pad. They want to jump after it, the rocket and try to hang on. the ideal, you want to be, you want to have a nice seat before the rocket takes off. So a lot of people have that, but I think there's a lot of money on the sidelines waiting for that that next deal or the one right after when they see that pattern. Because to me, it's clear that there's it's already there, but a lot of people still may not understand it.
I mean, the pattern's crystal clear. If you look at the execution quarter over quarter, I mean, it couldn't be more clear from an acquisition standpoint, from a revenue standpoint. It's literally as fast as we could go. We have to wait for acquisitions to close to pursue the next acquisition. So we're literally going as fast as possible. And if people aren't picking up on that, I mean, it's pretty clear, guys. I've said it from day one. I'm doing what I said. So I just saw that comment pop up. Get on the train already. But we're doing our job here, and our team's knocking it out of the park.
Okay. Interesting question before we wrap up. Can they transfer players in esports right now, or no? Is that happening?
Yeah, of course. It's a huge part of the industry. Okay. It's a huge part of esports as well. It's very similar to how the big pro sports teams work. Transfers, trades, picking up new players, dropping players. It's very, very similar to professional sports.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, Conrad, last question. Our favorite. Well, I haven't asked you this in a while, and the story has developed, which is, in your opinion, right now, based on where ESE is, what would you say? Again, in your opinion, what would you say the top 3 reasons why investors, should consider ESE today?
This is a generational opportunity. It's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and you have the opportunity to get in on the ground level. When investing, you want to invest in people who execute and deliver on what they're saying. We have done that. And finally, this is validated, not just by me saying it. You see groups like FaZe Clan, EGLX, all hitting that billion-plus market cap. And I believe we're the next ones.
That's actually that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the market's willing to pay, and this why not? Why can't ESE be at if EGLX did it? Why can't and they've essentially the same roadmap. You're following the same roadmap that they did to get to $1 billion.
And that's what I'm saying is I've said it like a broken record, and I'm going to continue to say it. We're going $1 billion plus. But now the market's validating it. And it's not just one group. It's not one group. It's now 2 groups. Maybe we're going to be the 3rd. Don't wait for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. ESE is the next $1 billion plus market cap esports company.
Okay, Conrad, on that note, I want to thank you, and we'll catch up with you hopefully, with your next M&A deal. Soon, hopefully by maybe next maybe by 4:00 today. No.
Follow the news, everyone. Follow the news. I ain't stopping. I'm on a flight at 4 a.m. to London tomorrow, and I'm working 24 hours a day. So I'm putting in the work.
Fantastic, Conrad. Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining our live stream today. We'll see you on the next one.